the scale in terms of we're going to just publish the entire supply chain. Of course, nobody's got time to read the entire supply chain while they're going along the cereals aisle, but somebody else, the money supermarket style intermediary, will come out and say, buy this one, not this one. It could be Greenpeace or some other trusted intermediary. And I think this is going to be the death of eco-labels and the birth of actually knowing what we're buying. Really exciting. Solidarity, this was a great story. I interviewed Premal Shah, one of the founders of Kiva. I don't know if you know this. Does everybody here know Kiva? Most people. The Kiva is a thing where you go on with your credit card and you decide, I like baking bread, so I'm going to lend money to a baker in Kabul and so forth. It's a way of micro-lending from here. And the big success, though, last year, when they were sort of re-galvanizing the community, was this competition. They launched this thing called Tribes, where you could identify yourself with a group who are also giving, and then see what you're giving as a group, rather like the thing about intra-office competition. And the big competition that blew up was between the atheists and the Christians. And lo and behold, the atheists gave 3 times more than the Christians. But between them, they accounted for nearly a half of all the giving. This really swept people up and down. It's that thing of feeling like you're part of something bigger than you, which social media can really do. And that's the feeling people had around the Obama elections, Iran elections as well, where you feel like you're part of a crowd, in fact. Social learning. This was a little thing I did last summer with some friends called Tweehive, where thousands of people pretended to be bees on Twitter for the day. And the funniest thing was we had a little, well no, the absolutely funniest thing was me sitting in the South Bank behind a big screen saying things like, I'm sitting here with Valerie Singleton and so forth. But we invented a game where people, the whole thing is there's never been a medium before where people could really pretend to be bees. And I met a professor of insect behaviour who actually studied ants, who'd just written a paper for Science about how Twitter resembles the superorganism intelligence of an ant colony in the way that little dumb interactions actually add up to a sort of combined intelligence. And one of the things we did was we hid flowers on 100 sites that the bees had to go and find our players, and then they had to tell the other bees where they find them and link to them, and when they clicked on these flowers then the colony got fed. So there were lots of stuff in there that we did this as a learning. This was part of a big thing called Pestival, where people were learning to appreciate the wonder of insect and so forth. And we did this as a social media stunt for a group of people who had a brilliant idea for a festival and no marketing money. And it was kind of fun itself. Finally, slacktivism. This is the phrase they use in the States, where you can just stick a twibbon on. I've got so many twibbons on, I had to clear them off recently, and half Dave's responsible for half of them. But this idea that you can just do some little things to join with something that don't require you to go and volunteer in another part of the globe and so forth, and that there are often in social media, one of the things I always look for is a pyramid where you've got layers of involvement, from really, really super actives down to people who can just click on something and so forth, who won't even review what others have put up. And you need all those layers really to get the most out of using this media. Finally, and I think this does come back to the really upsetting thing about social media for my clients when I've talked to big corporate marketing clients, as opposed to the little ones who are just getting off the ground, is it's really upsetting because it redresses the balance of power. I mean, bloody hell, customers can sit around and talk about their experiences of using your products and so forth. How upsetting is that? Should we respond as only a secondary sort of response to the fact that people are really out there talking about you and can see what other people are experiencing and realise it's not only little me that had this problem, actually loads of other people have had this problem. There's a great site well worth checking out called White Riots by the guy that I know that used to work at Skype, and he's come up with a site whose proposition is, if you're upset about something, get together with other people who are upset about it too and get something done about it. And I have all these categories called things like traffic wardens in Hammersmith and so forth, and Waitrose queues and so forth. And this is the world that we live in, and I'm really sorry to report to my corporate clients and to anybody who's feeling upset about sort of whether we should respond to criticism. We're just going to have to be better, and you're going to have to be better than the other people, and you're going to have substance. There is no way around, there's no sort of spin way around this, although it is good to be in the conversation. This was something said much more cleverly by Craig Newmark, who started Craigslist. By the end of this decade, power and influence will shift largely to those people with the best reputations and trusts and networks, i.e. us, from people with money and nominal power, i.e. people who've had all the influence before. And They're absolutely embodied by the UK equivalent of the Obama election. The social media fun of the election was just brilliant. This site, mydavidcameron.com, had 350,000 posters uploaded, never mind the ones that were downloaded. This just became a national pastime. It was like the new Sudoku. Everybody. Now, there may have been a few students with too much time who were responsible for half of those. And similarly, all the brilliant, they've taken them down now. I've got a personal collector's copy of things like Hitler reacts to David Cameron being posh. That was a particular, I don't know if you saw the Downfall series of parodies and so forth. But that is the thing, and when my clients get sort of annoyed about the fact that they can no longer control the message, the thing to do is to be in social media with people doing stuff together. And that's been true for the last 10 years. That's why Nike is throwing runs instead of putting up posters saying run. This is the way marketing was going anyway, and definitely it's what suits sustainability, because if there's one thing that really pisses people off, in particularly the green areas, being told what to do. Good, I must have run out of time, right? Yeah, thank you.
Great. If anyone's got any questions for John, then there's a little bit of time. Yeah, no, not feeling it.
Bit of an onslaught, okay. Sorry about that.
Well, therefore, look, I'd like to thank the speakers that we've had today for making a great event. Thank our friends at Our Social Times. Without them, this event would have happened, so thanks for your collaboration. Just a few notes. Badges, if you can hand the badges in on the way out so we can reuse them, please. The feedback forms, again, would be useful to get your responses so that we can help shape better events in the future. People were talking about wanting to get in touch with one another from the event. I'm not sure that we can really send around everyone's emails for fear, I suppose, of being pointed at and saying you facilitated spammers, but what we're happy to do is set up a group on LinkedIn and send an invite to everyone who is interested in connecting with one another. Just simply join that group and make the relationships there. We've got drinks outside now in the lobby till about 5:20. If people want to go on, there's a pub literally, come out of here, turn left, and just across the road is a little mews. There's a pub on the left there called the Castle. And lastly, we're planning to do another event in September called Green Ovation. We're looking for ideas and really looking to crowdsource that in a similar way, with you guys as today's event. So if people are interested in speaking or helping us by sponsoring that or future events, please feel free to get in touch with me. Thank you.